We're going to extend economic democracy even further in this country. How? By bringing water, energy, Royal Mail, rail back into public ownership again.
So, Camilla Tominey, what do you think of that then? I mean, it's all over. It was quite a sort of shortish speech. It was muted in the hall. Well, it always feel muted. I'm not sure how it'll be on TV yet. We'll find out.
I think it's impressive that he writes without any notes and that he spoke kind of like to the whole crowd. He was playing to a very receptive crowd, not necessarily saying anything that we didn't know already. You know, there's very macro themes about general Labour policies. We know about his plan to take the 10% from the businesses and give them back to the employees, have more employees on boards, renationalising. He was very anti-PFIs. We're all used to that. It was a bit of a rerun of the Labour manifesto, I felt.
I think it'll click quite well on social media. Part of the big game now is saying things in a conference and clip them down into a nice bite-sized chunk for social media, Facebook, and then it'll be shared loads of times. Some interesting stuff about water companies. They want to try and renationalise them and then somehow reinvest the money. People have had enough of being ripped off by privatisation, he said, which of course is a classic kind of Labour trope about it. But whether it's actually true, I don't know.
Well, it was also quite interesting how he was using the language that the Tories normally use in terms of inheriting some sort of deficit when it comes to the Treasury. And he was very much talking about what would Labour do if they inherited the Conservatives' legacy of austerity, which I thought was quite an interesting tack to turn the tables. There was some warmth in there, isn't there? There was some bit of warmth in terms of trying to tell a few jokes. Obviously, the Shankly bit. He made a reference to Theresa May's speech last year and said he had a cold and he hoped that the sign wouldn't come off behind him. That was quite a good joke. There was another one that got a few laughs when he referred to Gordon Brown, which seemed a bit of a departure from previous years where I don't think Gordon Brown's name would have been mentioned in the
the old days with Labour leaders, they would be sort of praised and applauded correctly out of respect. And it was a funny reference because he said Gordon Brown's name and then there was a slow hand and then everyone applauded properly to respect his service to the party.
Yeah, that was a little bit delayed, wasn't it, in terms of people recognising what he was saying.
So it's almost as though the party is sort of moving on so much from its past, isn't it? That it's moving on, accelerating away from people like Gordon Brown.
Well, accelerating away and in a very socialist direction, and obviously the reference to Shankly there, he's unashamed in his ambitions, very much talking in the language of the 70s about power back to the worker, talking about re-energising trade unions.
Take on vested interests, that was the key thing. I've made a note here, they try to thwart the will of the people. I mean, who wouldn't applaud that?
Well,
essentially I would applaud that. Wouldn't you applaud that?
I wrote that down and I sort of put in inverted commas slightly threatening tone.
Yes, it
There's
was
always
threatening.
a little bit of a threatening tone with McDonnell in that he kind of says, when we get to power, we will X, Y and Z, which then rouses the masses.
So today I'm announcing my intention is to bring together these organisations to launch a shareholder campaign. We'll be demanding that companies sign up to the fair tax mark standards, demonstrating transparently that they pay their fair share of taxes.
He talks about tax justice, he talks about companies paying their fair share of tax. I mean, who wouldn't want that to happen? That what they're saying is things that are quite retail policies that people may actually want that to happen. If you're told to give away 10% of your company to your workforce, I mean, who wouldn't want free shares in the Telegraph?
Well, indeed. It sounds a bit like the John Lewis model, which is obviously one of the most middle-class brands there is.
The problem is who's going to pay for it. I mean, that's the problem at the heart of it. Who's going to pay for it?
And he did refer to the claims that the right-wing media had made about the last manifesto being unaffordable. Was it the so-called magic money tree? I thought what was also interesting when he was talking in general terms about some of the policies and talking about the Tories getting out of the way, that on the Brexit issue, he didn't go down the people's vote line. He was very, very careful to say we would like another general election, but he didn't talk about people's vote, which of course staying in the EU is completely incompatible with the renationalisation plans. How does he square that circle, and how does he square the circle that ultimately he and Corbyn, whisper it, are staunch Brexiteers?
Let's wait and see, but it's quite, I mean, I think the takeaway is, you know, quite interesting retail policies, but who's going to pay for them? Indeed. Not answered yet.
Not answered yet. Never really answered.
Camilla Tominey, Chris Hope, that's me. Thank you.